Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most OP spear build in Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Spears kind of have it all in one. They can break posture, they generate Skyborn Might pretty quickly, and they have a very useful moveset with lots of mobility, which is much needed in a game where bosses run from you so much. There are a lot of really great spells as well that pair well with a spear, so you can use things like the Demon Bane Strike there to get a knockdown for free, and then you can pair this up with some of the weapon skills from the pretty good spears that there are. So I'll break down all the weapons, gear, and everything to make yourself powerful. The two strongest spears in my opinion are the Steam Powered Spear and the Cloud Piercer. So with the Steam Powered Spear, you have the Steam Chain ability, which is the thing you've seen there. And if you pair this with some different temperaments, you can actually build it up pretty quickly. The Solar Leap is my favorite discipline. It gives you a lot of mobility and range, but the Spearveil discipline is also nice. And the Cloud Piercer has the Unstoppable Force. With the Cloud Piercer, that's a 3 cost, so it is expensive in Skyborn Might. And this weapon, the Cloud Piercer, is a 2 scaling in agility and 5 in strength, whereas the Steam Powered Spear is more agility focused with the 4 agility and 3 in strength, but both will work well with the skill tree that we'll be showing you here. Now, another thing with this build is we do want to have certain pendants. If you want to go all in on damage, the Tiger Pendant to increase your physical damage, the Eagle Pendant, which increases your stab attack power, and the Coiled Dragon Pendant, which increases the power of weapon skills. All 3 of these will boost up your weapon damage quite a bit. The Fiend Felling Pendant is great against a lot of bosses in this game, so it's one that you could equip quite frequently. And if you want to use more spells, the Sun Pendant is great for upgrading the potency of spells. And another very useful one against bosses is the Draco Lich Pendant, which increases, or makes it so you don't get flinch from the roaring attacks. There's a lot of bosses that have a roar which would normally stun you and damage you. You don't get hit with it, so this is good to equip against a lot of bosses, and it slightly reduces overall damage taken. As far as armor goes, the Ghost Warrior Vambraces, which is something you get a little bit later on in the game, very strong. The Ming armor early game is pretty solid as well, but it depends on the boss. Some feathering type spells are very good to have a block for, so something like some of the robes here are great. But overall, this is going to be the highest stab and slash. So for a lot of the fights, the Ghost Warrior Breastplate and other armor sets other pieces are the best. As for spells, the Echo Looping Zang is one that you can get extremely early on. What's nice about this is it has a 2 cost with one of the skill trees that we'll be selecting in this video. And the 2 cost means that you can cast this. And if you get attacked while you're doing this, you get Alacrity, which gives you another Skyborn Might back. So you can continually keep spamming this. Some of the bosses that are very hard in this game, like Hung Lang, early in the game, this one is great because you can use this to get distance from her and just continually keep throwing these spears. So this was a very useful early game one. Ethereal Form is the best spell since whenever you get it, because it makes it so you don't get hit by the next attack and you gain Skyborn Might. So you can just continually keep casting this. It does only last for 5 seconds, but it's very useful. And once you get to the Echo Bow Magus, this is the best spell in the game. So it's like an upgraded form of Ethereal Form where it costs 3 Skyborn Might, but you can resist 3 attacks. So obviously a lot stronger, and you can face tank the attacks, so you can apply the Leech Temperance and survive. The Demon Bane Strike is one that's super useful once you get later on. It does feathering damage, so it really just depends. Most of these are featherings right now, so we will build around the feathering tree. But if you like spells more, some of the great options that we can go with early game are like the Infernal Flames here or Burning Flames. Both these are great. I like the Burning Flames jump back. The Echo of Lu Hongliu is great because it can actually stun some bosses like Bow Sorcerer, so you can get charged heavy attacks off at them. And Golden Scepter's got pretty great damage as well. Whenever you get the Echo Zhao Yun, this is a great late game for stunning and taking out demons. As for Benedictions, one of the best combinations is to use the 3 discipline, 6 discipline, and 9 disciplines all together. This increases your overall damage if you have 12 disciplines known. The damage boost from this is insane. With 2 of them, it's like a 55% increase in your overall damage. So this is worth taking because it's just going to boost up how much damage you're dishing out. If you want something a little bit different, there is ones that actually help out quite a bit with the Skyborn Rejuvenation by Sheng, and this gives you Leech on your weapon, which recovers your overall health when you attack whenever you get Skyborn Might. So if you dodge, you then get a buff to your weapon. It's actually pretty crazy, but this mastery is a lot better. I'm at level 96 here, but I'm going to break it down by levels. Honestly, one of the first things you should always go for is this one here, increase the mask stacks of Skyborn Might by 2, and grab the Mana Flask. That's going to be the first thing. These don't take any upgrades, so first grab that, and then I like to also grab this one here, which will increase your ability to do swift draws. So you can go here, and actually there's some actually good ones like the +5 vitality. I like to go right straight here to get yourself that extra health early on, and then we're going to build into the spear, which gives us these skills here. The late attacks will give us the Bold Heart there, which gives us Skyborn Might by a set ratio, and this will actually increase the ratio, so converts our Bold Hearts from 2 into 1 Skyborn Might. So whenever we attack, we're now going to gain Skyborn Might, and there's some other ways we can go about doing this. Now, depending on the weapon, there's strength and agility scaling, but I found that the best skill is the Solar Leap, and we want to get this pretty early on. So you're going to go over here, upgrade the weapon whenever you can. Again, this doesn't take any of your red mercury essence. We're going to go over here and grab the Solar Leap. This is really useful. Always make sure that you're applying it onto your weapons too, because it's pretty easy to forget that. And then we're going to grab the variant 2 for the follow-up attack, so you can do a light attack afterwards, and this has a sweeping attack to it, so you can grab those there. At this point, it's good to actually grab these so you can consume 1 Skyborn Might to do charged heavy attacks. This is really useful early against some of the more challenging bosses, because this allows you to break their posture if you can get behind them. Any humanoid boss is likely to be able to get affected by that. And this one here will give you another Skyborn Might, so it's definitely worth grabbing. And while we're at it, we'll also grab the +5 to agility, since it is really early on the tree. That's a huge buff to our overall damage that other weapons don't actually get till later on in their skill trees. Next, we're going to go back to the left-hand side here, and we want to get a Temperance buff. So at the top here, we have some things like Poise Break, Lightning. There's certain ones that'll buff up our weapons a little bit more. Blight, there's a specific spear that scales off Blight. Don't find it that strong, but if that's your thing, I personally like to go over here and grab the Leech. So we're going to come down here. When you're at above 50% Skyborn Might, your Echo spells will take less to cast. This helps a lot against Hong Lang early game, because you can use the Echo of Lu Bingzang and jump back throwing that spear, and it works well with the spear build. And we're going to grab the Leech Temperament. Make sure to, again, apply this onto your weapon, because that blood loss is extremely effective. It's not going to be as much damage as like the Burn Temperaments, but you can also, if you want, go down here. When above 50% Skyborn or Madness, you gain 1 second Skyborn Might upon using Alacrity. Again, we're going to be getting Alacrity from using the Echo Lu Bingzang, which you can literally see right there. That's a spell. And then we're going to come down here. This gives you so that binding time does not decay below 3 stacks. But if you're using any fire spells, grab the Fiery Embers. This is extremely useful for applying Burn, which you want. Burn's actually pretty overpowered in this game, and there's some bosses that melt to it, so grab this one right away. We're then going to head back over into the Spear Tree here, and it's actually good to continue down along this path. This one will give you, when you're above 90% Madness, you gain Fleetless, which increases your resilience, so you're harder to interrupt. You're likely going to want to fight some boss at 90% Madness, so this is a good one to grab. And then we'll grab this here for our weapon upgrade, and then we can continue here to grab the agility, and then go all the way down here. The next in the tree is Spear Veil. This will grant you fleetness for a specific amount of time, and it's kind of like almost like a parry. You use this skill and then you get a free dodge. I like Spear Veil a bit. I do prefer the Solar Leap. I found that more useful against with my way of playing, but it may be for you. And then you can grab the upgrade, which give you 2 stacks of Skyborn Might, and also upgrade the weapon to the max. And grab this node here if you didn't grab this one already. Since we have a buff for when we're above 90% Madness, we'll grab the Health Siphon here, so the final strike of your light attack combo will recover some health. And you can go up here and grab some of the different elements depending on the boss that you're fighting, but we can also continue up here and grab the Acupoint's Temperance, which gives you more buffs when you temper your weapon, and then increase your Temperament's charges. We're also going to continue here. You can upgrade your Bow Madness incense here if you'd like, but I prefer just continuing here for more Skyborn Might. Skyborn Resilience, which is actually really useful when you cast a spell that uses 4 or more Skyborn Might, and the one that you see right there is extremely effective. This makes it so you don't get staggered, which is massive late game. You need to be able to cast some spells to get the damage in. And when above 50% Madness, you can get increased feathering attack power. This is only good if you have a feathering style weapon, so you don't have to grab this one. What's nice, you can also refriend nodes pressing the square or X button at any time. We'll then continue with the Vitality and then go over here, grab up all the Mana Flask, and we got a choice to make. I think that it's better with this build to use the Echo Lu Bingzang and some other feathering. So we're going to go here, grab these side ones, which is going to increase our feathering quite a bit. You can also go magic if you prefer some of the spells like Burning Flames or really anything. I do have a video where I ranked all the different spells in the game, so you can see which suits your playstyles. I tested all through them. But we're going to continue on down here and unlock the final Acupoints. This is super important. And then what we're going to do is spec into other trees. This is going to give us some extra boost. You can also just grab some of these here. Any of the miscellaneous ones along the side here that you haven't grabbed can be nice to just pick up. So like this will increase the Temperance on your weapon, which is very useful to have. And then we'll go into a few different trees. If you find you like casting, go into the one-handed sword and we can actually grab a bunch of buffs to our feathering here. The one-handed swords are all about just doing casting spells. If we go into the dual blades, it's agility focus, which is what this build is about. Just go for the stat upgrades and the disciplines. When we learn more disciplines, that's going to buff up, as previously mentioned, the 3, 6, and 9 Benediction. So you can just go around grabbing all of them. That's kind of where you're going to be spending your next points. You can go also into the axe tree here, which will give you +5 endurance, +5 vitality, which will give you a lot of survivability. And then you can continue down grabbing, again, all the different disciplines as you continue to level up past there. The other big spikes is also in the Longsword Tree. So when we go down here, we can get some upgrades to our overall feathering and to our weapon damage. So if we want to go all in on the feathering, there's a +5 here. And then there's also a big boost with a +5 vitality. And you can also just cross here if you have one stack and then grab the +5 endurance. And then work our way up the Longsword Tree. The Longsword Tree actually has a lot of great buffs. Another increase to our agility, which our weapon primarily scales off of. And then again, you can just go around grabbing every discipline. So go for obviously the ones that are in our own skill tree. You can grab these ones. That's just going to give us a boost to our damage. And there are nodes on each side that give us a +5 vitality and endurance. So grab those as well a little bit earlier on. And putting it all together, Solar Leap is a really great opener if you landed there. And then you can also follow up with some of the other spells that you got that just completely obliterate. I do have a video going over all the different spells. There's 40 of them in the game, and there's a lot of them that are actually quite powerful. So I would recommend checking that video out. I really like the Echo Bow Magus there, because then you can actually face tank the boss and use some of the weapon skills like the Steam Chain there, which, yeah, you can spam it and it just destroys enemies. So yeah, this weapon here is incredible. I highly recommend using the Steam Power Chain and the Steam Power Spear and the Cloud Piercer, as they're both pretty powerful. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you found this video useful, and I hope you have a great day.